On Tuesday, Maurizio Pochettino was sacked as Tottenham Hotspur manager, with Spurs 14th in the Premier League table and 6 points off the relegation zone. Today, Jose Mourinho has been confirmed as their new head coach, with the aim of trying to bring energy and belief back to the dressing room after what has been a disappointing season so far in North London. Yes, hello and welcome along to the Analysis Show. Understandably, it's a Tottenham Hotspur special for the next 90 minutes here. Joining me in the studio, Arsenal legend Lee Dixon and Michael Brown, who played over 60 times for Spurs between 2003 and 2006. Welcome along to you all. Michael, good to see you. What was your reaction when you first heard? Where was you last night when you heard this news? I was at home, actually, in the bedroom, just pottering around as you do, putting the kids to bed, and you're seeing it and you're thinking, is this real? Is that really happened? And you've seen there's been that uncertainty, but from to make the decision after the international break, only the day before I'd read how they're having meetings yet again and discussions about going forward. And then for him to make that decision in such a way, it did shock me, actually, especially the timing of it. Yeah, Lee, for you, where was you?
I was texting Ian Wright's wife, Nancy, asking him whether he'd prefer scorpions or cockroaches in his in the big helmet thing he was wearing. So we were trying to vote a nice creature into Ian's headset. But so it was a bit of a surprise. But having said that, you kind of, when you think about it a little bit more, you go, all right, I can understand why maybe Tottenham have made that decision because of the results, etc. But then you sort of flip back into, well, surely he deserved a little bit more time with the job he's done there, 5.5 years. Amazing considering the budget, the budget for transfers and also wages, etc. So I think he's done a fabulous job. So I guess the overall feeling is probably a little bit surprised that Daniel Levy and the club owners have decided enough's enough. Yep.
And no sooner, Michael, had you put the kids to bed, pretty much you're finding out that Jose Mourinho is now the new head coach until the end of the 22-23 season. Was that a surprise or not?
I think when you're seeing it coming through the list of managers who possibly could go and replace him, and he was outright favourite, the talk became very, very quickly that it was real, it could happen, and it has done. And the biggest surprise for me is not just the quality of Jose Mourinho or where he's been at Manchester United, where he ended with that, was the fact that Daniel Levy to work with Jose Mourinho, that was the biggest shock for me.
Yeah. Can you see that being a harmonious relationship, Lee, that one?
There must have been some discussions gone on about what sort of Jose Mourinho is going to be coming to the club. Because if you look at his history and how he's gone about putting his stamp on a club, there's always been money involved, spending. Now, whether it's either Jose's changed or Daniel Levy's changed in that respect, and he's gone, do you know what? We've done the 5-year project.
Overnight?
Yeah, we've done the 5-year project.
Yeah.
We've tried that with Pochettino, and ultimately, if you're looking at trophies, it hasn't worked. The fact that the club's in probably a really good, stable position, they've got a training ground, they've got a new ground, the fact that all of that is in place, you're now looking at saying, well, as Daniel Levy said, yeah, and there's a load of money to spend. Or is it Jose Mourinho's gone, do you know what, this team, when you look at the team, don't need that much spending on it. So give us a few top-class players, and I might be able to turn a couple of signings around. A couple of centre-halves might turn around and go, actually, I want to play for this guy. And then you turn those around, maybe a couple of them leave, and all of a sudden, you've got the fruits of what Pochettino's put together.
Interesting stuff. Let's head over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium right now. Vishali Bardwaj is there for us. Vishali, what's the atmosphere around the stadium like? It's been a pretty incredible, 15, 16 hours now.
Absolutely. There are a few fans around the stadium. It is quite cold, so it's understandable that they're not hanging around the stadium, but there are plenty of camera crews and plenty of chatter about what has happened in the past few hours. I mean, Spurs fans first got wind of the fact that Maurizio Pochettino might be on his way out a couple of days ago when reports emerged in the British newspapers about his future. And of course, that statement was released late last night in the UK, which confirmed that Pochettino and his coaching staff had indeed been sacked. I think what was quite interesting from that statement was Daniel Levy pointing to the poor run of results in the Premier League this season, but also at the tail end of last season. I said it was cold, it's really windy as well. As to the big reason why Pochettino was indeed let go. Of course, Champions League football is crucial for Tottenham. In the 4 seasons in a row that Pochettino has been in charge, I mean, he was there for 5, but after his first season, 4 seasons in a row he secured Champions League football for the club. Of course, he took them to the Champions League final last season, but it looks like the fact that they are 11 points off a top 4 spot, in fact they are closer to the relegation zone than they are to the Champions League spots. It means that he has been let go, and of course former Chelsea and Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho has now been brought into the helm. Interesting times for the club indeed.
Vishali, when do we expect an official unveiling of Jose?
Well, what we do understand is that Tottenham were due to train this morning. Now, that training session has been moved into the afternoon in order to allow Jose Mourinho to take charge of his first training session as Spurs manager. We're told that potentially a press conference and Jose Mourinho's official unveiling will take place tomorrow. Now, if that happens tomorrow, then that will also be a good chance to not just talk to Mourinho about that big game, his first in charge for Tottenham against West Ham at the weekend, but also what the mood is like within the camp, what he hopes to achieve at the club. And then we, Premier League, will be talking to Dele Alli on Friday to talk about, Maurizio Pochettino leaving. Of course, he did post that emotional message on social media, but also his new manager, Mourinho.
Interesting stuff. Vishali, thank you for the time being. Thank you very much. And of course, any further updates that we get from Spurs, we'll be straight back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the very latest. Let's have a little look at the statement that the club put out after they disposed of Maurizio Pochettino's services. The club can today announce that Maurizio Pochettino and his coaching staff, Jesus Perez, Miguel D'Agostino and Anthony Jimenez, have been relieved of their duties. Chairman Daniel Levy said, "We were extremely reluctant to make this change, and it is not a decision the board has taken lightly nor in haste. Regrettably, domestic results at the end of last season and the beginning of this season have been extremely disappointing." It continued with, "It falls to the board to make the difficult decisions. This one made more so given the many memorable moments we have had with Maurizio and his coaching staff. But we do so in the club's best interests. Maurizio and his coaching staff will always be part of our history. I have the utmost admiration for the manner in which he dealt with the difficult times away from a home ground whilst we built the new stadium, and for the warmth and positivity he brought to us." And the final page says, "I should like to thank him and his coaching staff for all they have contributed. They will always be welcome here. We have a talented squad. We need to re-energise and look to deliver a positive season for our supporters." Interesting. Daniel Levy is quite a tough guy. It appears. I think he kind of almost likes the fact that he appears, Lee, to have to be a hard guy to get to grips with. Maurizio Pochettino, it appeared not that too long ago, that relationship started to deteriorate a bit, didn't it?
Yeah. At the start of this season, I think, after the Champions League and what happened at the results towards the end of last season, it papered over a few cracks for me. And I said to a few of my Tottenham friends, who I've got one or two, but I tried to keep them to the side, but I spoke to them about it. I said, what are you feeling about the club? And they were saying, well, we like what Poch does with the youngsters and we love what, the project. And I said, the project, I said it the other day to Andros Townsend, the project is broken. I said, you can't have a dressing room behaving like that. You can't have the fractions between the manager and the chief executive like it is. Well, I mean, we don't know half of it, but we get the picture from the media. You can't have those broken elements of a club and succeed. Yeah. Something has to give. Players are out of contract. The dressing room scene broken in that respect, and you never get that back. It's all right once a player's decided that it's perhaps time to move on, and when you've got maybe 4 or 5 of your best players all saying that at the same time, the project's broken. So I think from Daniel Levy's point of view, it's just a matter of time before he went, do you know what, how do we fix this? And the fact that he's jumped the other way, and I asked Michael about this, now jumped the other way from perhaps having the most forward-thinking youth development coach in British football to now going, all right, we need to win something, Jose Mourinho, because you will win something with him, that's what he does. Yeah. Is that, from a Tottenham player's point of view, a bit upsetting?
Well, I think it's the whole club's point of view that, yes, they've had that, the buildings, changing the infrastructure, a wonderful training ground, amazing stadium, and that development's now coming to an end, but with still no trophies. So the supporters are saying, we want to win trophies. And I imagine the owners in Joe Lewis, who controls a lot above Daniel Levy's head, he might be the one also saying, it's time now we change, we've got that base, We've got that infrastructure now going forward.
Yeah.
Let's try and get somebody in with this group of players to deliver these trophies.
Is a handbrake turn required? Are Spurs going so badly in the wrong direction where literally it's now a complete change of emphasis, a complete change of the whole thought process has to be radically changed, Lee? Or are we talking about tweaks and fine tweaks here that Jose's got to somehow feel and adjust?
Well, I don't think those negotiations with Jose Mourinho and the club have been, I'm coming in and I'm going to clear everybody out and start again. I think Daniel Levy will look at that and it'll scare him to death. I think I believe what Jose Mourinho's come in and he's looked at the base of the team and the core and he's gone, do you know what, we ain't bad. We're good going forward. They've got some good midfield players. The defence over the last 4 or 5 years has been one of the best in the Premier League. That's fallen away a bit. Can I tweak that? I think he's looked and gone, it doesn't need that many big players. And so I think Daniel Levy, that's appealed to him because he's gone, hang on, we're getting arguably one of the best managers in the world football, trophies all over the place. Don't have to spend that much. We're not that far away. Newstead, he's the man. I think that's where Tottenham
it must have had to gone that way because, as you said, recruitment-wise, spending money. The issue still is as well is can he persuade these players who are out of contract to stay? That'll be something he'll say. Let me have a go at that, Daniel. I believe I might get one of them, one or two of them to sign these contracts. But it's just been a long, ongoing saga now of that negativity since the summer. Yes, the Champions League was a brilliant recovery. But from the turn of the year, away from home, they've been dreadful. Yeah. The players that they've got, maybe character-wise, I hear in dressing rooms after games, it's very still. And, when you've been in them, they're generally somebody's saying, before that manager's gone in, they're sorting it out. Yeah. They're actually digging each other out. And I think there's just a quiet group. Whether that's the manager who wants to control that, because sometimes the managers now, the modern ones, don't like it.
This has been their worst start to